tube that brings urine from the kidney, the ureter, exits. So this indented area here is the hilum or hilus in the kidney. Okay? Okay, the kidney is divided into two regions. The outer region is called the cortex, and the inner region is the medulla. And again, this is nothing new. A lot of organs, the outer part is the cortex, the inner part is the medulla. Now these regions are fairly distinctive. You can see it on the models, you can also see it in the slides. The outer region, the cortex here, is lighter in color. You can see these are unstained, of course. And it appears to be granular, as you can see. This is because it's full of what are called renal corpuscles, which we're talking about. It gives it a granular appearance. So this lighter outer region of the kidney is the cortex. It appears granular because this is where you have these renal corpuscles. Okay? That's what these spherical structures are. The inner region is darker in color. You can see it here. And it appears striated, a bunch of parallel lines, because of all the tubes that run through it. So a lighter area on the outside, or the periphery of the organ, and it appears granular because of all these renal corpuscles which are confined to the cortex. And the inner region, which is darker and appears striated, is the medulla. So we're getting all these tubes running through it. So outer cortex, inner medulla. Cortex is lighter, granular appearance, and the darker, looks like full of striations, okay, is the medulla. Now there are extensions of the renal cortex into or between parts of the medulla. You can see them here. These are called renal columns. So extensions of the cortex, okay, between portions of the medulla are the renal columns. And again, the cortex member is a lighter region. This darker region is the medulla. Okay, the medulla actually is arranged in what we call pyramids, renal pyramids, because of the shape of a pyramid, as you can see. A broad base, a more tapered, inward pointing area, which is the apex. So these are the parts of the medulla here. They're called renal pyramids. They look like a pyramid. The broad base part facing the cortex, and the more tapered part faces inward. And that's called the apex or papilla. You can see from your handout. So each renal pyramid has that broad base facing the cortex, okay? And a more tapered inward facing region, which is the apex or papilla. But you can see they look like pyramids. And that's the medulla. Look now at the calyces. Calyx is singular, calyces is plural. Calyx is a collecting chamber. You can see we have minor calyces and major calyces. The apex or papilla of each renal pyramid projects into a collecting chamber, which is called a minor calyx. You can see them here. Okay? So the tapered portion of the renal pyramid, the apex or papilla, projects into a collecting chamber, and that is the minor calyx. 2 or 3 minor calyces fuse into a larger collecting chamber called a major calyx. So several minors will come into a major. These are just collecting chambers. Each renal pyramid, the apex, the papilla of which projects into a minor calyx, and then 2 or 3 of those minor calyces come together into a larger chamber called a major calyx. Okay? See one right here, see one right here, that's not opened up. All the major calyces come into a common collecting chamber, which is called the renal pelvis, okay? So, minor calyx, major calyx, all converging to a renal pelvis. That's the common collecting chair. Okay? So minor to major to renal pelvis. And guess what we're leading up to? A trace again. And I expect you to trace waste products from the blood to the outside of the body. Okay, so again, its common collecting chamber is the renal pelvis. And that goes right into this tube, which is the ureter, or ureter if you prefer, that drains urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. Okay? So minor calyx, the major, renal pelvis, to ureter, or ureter. And this will be carrying the urine. Now, I'm going to expect you to do a trace, as I said, of the waste products from the blood to the outside of the body. Also expect you to do a trace of the blood vessels into and out of the kidney, which I listed on your lab objective sheet. I expect you to be able to trace the blood from the abdominal aorta back to the inferior vena cava. And I've listed the vessels in order. We're going to start with the renal arteries. You probably saw this on the pig. The renal arteries branch off the abdominal aorta, and they supply blood to the kidneys. This is oxygenated blood, but it's also blood laden with waste products. Now, the kidneys are going to take waste products out of the blood. Not digested waste, but cellular or metabolic waste. The cells, of course, when they metabolize, give off waste products. It's dumped into the blood. That blood is filtered to the kidneys, and that waste then passes out with the urine, which is mostly water, as you probably know. Okay, so let's trace through. So we're coming off the abdominal aorta, the left and right renal arteries. And it's the red are the arteries and the blue are the veins. This will be a renal artery. This first vessel. That splits into what are called segmental arteries. You can see them coming off here. The segmental arteries. So renal artery to segmental arteries. Again, it's on your lab objective sheet. Then there's a very short artery called the lobar artery. You see one of them right here. Now, it's not in your book. In earlier editions it was, but they took it out. But there's a very short one right here, and that's a lobar. L-O-B-A-R, lobar artery. Kind of then are interlobar arteries. See them running here. There's one right here. You can see this is an expansion of the renal pyramid and the adjacent cortex. So again, we go from renal artery to segmental artery. Of course, there are more than one. They branch off the renal. To lobar, a very short one. To the interlobar arteries that run up here. Then it joins with artery that forms kind of an arc between the renal medulla and the renal cortex. And that's called the arcuate artery. You can see it right here in red. You can also see it here as well. The arcuate artery. Okay? Right here. It runs right along the borderline between the cortex and the medulla. It's the shape of an arc. That's the name arcuate artery. All right, then coming off of it, to me, they look like little trees, okay? Not any leaves, okay? What makes up the trunk of the tree, okay, this is the interlobular artery. So be careful, you've got an interlobar and an interlobular. Now, your book has another name for it. You can use that name as well. That's called the cortical radiate artery. Interlobular arteries are equivalent to cortical radiate arteries. It's a good name because it's radiated out into the cortex.